Hi everyone out there. I know I haven't been around for a while, but I've been evolving as a person. I've decided to leave my childish Super Nintendo fanboyism behind and become more a fanboy for the modern era, looking at games that are actually relevant because people still play them. I'd like to tell you about a game I've been playing recently. The most recent game I've been playing is Street Fighter X Tekken. It's pretty epic, so we're going to have a look. The game brings together the most well-known characters from both fighting brands and has them slogging two bells of hell out of each other. The storyline sees a box of mystical power called Pandora arrive on Earth and attracts fighters from all over the world to battle to gain untold power. The game looks great with the cartoony graphics that we came to expect from Street Fighter 4. Brilliant! Updates! Love them! Oh! Fantastic! Even more updates! Oh, just can't wait! In all honesty, I don't really know what I'm doing. Basically, all I do is I take the controller and just mash it in the hopes that I might win something. Now, most sensible people would say to me, well, just go and have a look in the instruction booklet. And, well, I have tried that, but unfortunately, in the basic controls alone, it lists normal moves, special moves, X special moves, blocking, cross cancel, recovery, forward roll recovery, throwing, throw escape, dashing, switching, launchers, boost combo, cross rush, super arts, super charge, cross arts, cross assault, Pandora, quick combos and gems. Basic controls? That's ridiculous. Fanboy. No, SNES, I've turned my back on you and your Super Nintendo ways. But I have the answer to all your problems. Really? Let us recall how it all started. Originally released into arcades in 1991 and then ported to SNES the next year, Street Fighter II is solely responsible for establishing the beat-em-up genre, as well as making two-player gaming fun and competitive. It was a worldwide success and quickly established itself as one of the best games of all time. Although Street Fighter has spun away from its humble beginnings with such games as the Street Fighter Alpha series, the Street Fighter X series, Street Fighter 3 and 4 and all their incarnations, Puzzle Fighter, as well as the Capcom Verse series, it is important to remember how influential the original Street Fighter 2 really was to video gaming. The game offers 8 players to choose from, and using each player is a completely unique experience. Move inputs for each character are completely different, with some characters requiring a sequence of different button presses, some requiring 2 buttons to be pressed at once, and some needing you to hold down a button for a required length of time. Players quickly established which was their favourite character, not by how each character looked, but how they felt. The music is some of the best you will hear in a video game. The Ken level in particular is a banging tune that puts you in a fighting mood. Each Each level represents an area of the world that that particular character is from, and as such, the backgrounds and music fit in well with the stereotype. Get 2 players and the fun really steps it up a notch. Sure, arcade is fine, but there's nothing quite like beating the hell out of some of your closest friends. Street Fighter 2 is possibly the most influential video game of all time. It paved the way for beat-em-up genre in general and set so many bars for all the games to come afterwards. It's a shame, therefore, that the original has aged so badly. On the Super Nintendo alone, there are 2 more Street Fighter 2 games that came after this one, and although they may not have been as influential to video gaming, they are both better. Having 8 characters to choose from in 1992 was untold of, but in the 21st century we feel hard done by if we don't have 38 to choose from. Many of the characters nowadays are very similar, but it appears that the trend has become quantity over substance, and Street Fighter 2 doesn't have quantity. The other problem with Street Fighter 2 is how ridiculously hard some of the later characters become. Not through a lack of skill on the part of the player, but just how bad and how unfair some of the characters are. Try to win any later stages with Ryu or Ken, and you will need persistence, because some of the characters have such a far reach. By the time you get to Vega and Sagat, they have developed the ability to read and counter a move before you even make it. Street Fighter 2 is one of the most important games ever made. Without Street Fighter 2 there'd be no Mortal Kombat, no Killer Instinct, no Virtua Fighter, no King of Fighters, and no Tekken. However, Street Fighter 2's biggest problem is Capcom, because they've been so desperate to repackage the game again and again and again that the original Street Fighter 2 has become obsolete. Why would you play Street Fighter 2 after all, when you can play the Turbo or the Super versions on the Super Nintendo alone that offer more characters and better gameplay? The game has become obsolete. As already mentioned, there are a further 2 versions of Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo, and in the coming weeks we will be looking at both of these to decide if we think that Turbo or Super are better. That's right, kids. The Super Nintendo Fanboy is back.
Round 2, fight! Hadouken! Shoryuken! Shoryuken!